Welcome back to Boruto Anime Review episode number 80. This will be the 81st episode of the Boruto Naruto Next Generations anime, Boruto's Wish. Yeah, the thing with this episode is it's kind of a split episode in a way, where it looks like it's taking place it basically takes place in two different realities. Because most of the time we see Boruto in this episode, aside from seeing him unconscious, you see what's going on in his head. An illusion that possibly he created. It's kind of similar to that infinite that jutsu that was cast in season 20 of Naruto Shippuden. The only difference is he's not trapped in a cocoon, and he's just something he made up all in his head. And Gorgana basically wants to eat him because he failed to get Mitsuke. So yeah, he realizes though after a little while, basically just roaming around, just doing whatever, and eating at Thunderburger, which apparently is becoming the show's version of Ichigo Ramen, because the Ichigo Ramen place, that was a frequent place that Naruto visited both in Naruto and Naruto Shippuden. In this series, they visited once. This series is just the Thunderburger, basically fast food. I don't know why, but that's basically how the anime is going. Yeah, and then of course Gorgana, he realizes though that Gorgana basically just realized, Gorgana basically kind of caused Boruto to wake up because pretty much almost the entire episode he's unconscious. Yep, he's unconscious. What else happens in this episode? We have Inogen just looking around, checking stuff out, and him and Chocho. Then of course there's a noise, and there's a strange Akua forms, and it's a baby version. It's like Inogen got his own pet chimp. Imagine how his mother would feel if he brings this thing home. Oh yeah, she'd probably not very happy they brought some strange creature to her flower shop. Yeah, of course the thing falls around, throws sticks at him, plays a little while. Yeah. Eventually they decide to infiltrate, after Boruto wakes up, they said infiltrate the village hidden in the stones. And this is probably, now when they showed this in last week's episode, I think it was about 2 episodes back. Yeah, I think it was like a week or two ago when I saw the Kazakage, the Tazakage Karasuchi. Yeah, you kind of chance to see a little bit of the village in the stones. Next week's episode looks like we're actually going to see the whole village itself, because this is probably the only village the whole entire franchise has never been shown. We've seen briefly the main building where the Tazakage lives. We've seen that. We saw a little bit of it. I think it was in last week's episode, just a little bit of it. A couple areas here and there. Next week's episode looks like we're actually going to see the whole thing of it. Now, prior to this, the village hidden in the stone was probably the only. Well, it was actually one of two. Prior to the series, it was one of two villages that had never been physically let's just say, shown. And then in this series, first we see the Hidden Mist. We got a chance to see that for the first time in this franchise. And then, of course, we got a chance to see the village in the stone, which is going to be great. Now, we also get a chance to see. Now, one thing that I at least got praise for this episode is got good camera work. Though it's a bit awkward here and there, like how Gorgana shows up and you see his eye through a window. Yeah, as for how the heck it got in Boruto's head. And then, after he beats that illusion, apparently, then we see his mindscape thing that's very similar to that of how Naruto talks to Kurama. Yes, it is a very similar setup. I mean, Gorgana is not a tailed beast, so as for why we have this mindscape, no idea. Because the only time we see Kurama the whole entire series is during the tuning exam mark for one scene in the episode where Naruto goes to Kibi mode. That's the only time we see Kurama the whole series, well, aside from the episode that adapted the day Naruto became Hokage short, you see him there, but that was the last time we saw him. Of course, you also get a chance to Shikaku in a mindscape, first time he's been shown there. But Gorgana was a little bit weird. He's not even summoned this whole episode. You just see him in Boruto's head, and that's it. Yeah, it's a bit of an odd episode, but it's getting a little bit better, but at least that looks like that possibly next week's episode is going to be interesting because Okanai is going to show up. Oh, yes. They even referenced that they had a flashback like, okay, we know somebody we know somebody in the village in the south. You know, Okanai. Oh, okay. And so I was like, oh yeah, the third Kazakage. Go visit him. And they do so in the very next episode, which I'm very much looking forward to. Overall, this episode was just okay. It's not a terrible episode. I still feel as though that the worst arc of the whole series is the Chocho arc. This one I think is a little bit better, and at least that Boruto is not doing kind of the stupid things he was doing a couple episodes back. Yeah, at least he's not spouting very similar dialogue. Here, he just basically realizes after attack with Mitsuge, he's talking a little more rationally. Yeah, he's had much more. It's like the writing for him actually very much improved for this episode. Yeah, that's my high praise I give this episode, is the fact that the writing for Boruto is actually better than it's been the past 7 episodes we've seen him. And the Mindscape thing was fantastic. Now, there's no real bad animation in this whole series, this whole entire episode. Not really, no. I know last week's episode was probably considered in this whole entire arc to be the best episode in the form of the writing. This episode, I would say it's got fantastic animation, definitely. The writing was not like up there in terms of a high point. I would say the highest point the writing probably got was last week's episode. This episode didn't actually feature actual appearance on Mitsuge. We see a hallucination of Mitsuge, but Mitsuge himself physically does not appear in this episode. We see him in a flash. We see him like in a recap, at least a flashback of last week's episode, and of course a recap. But that's all we see of the guy. He's nowhere to be seen this whole episode. My guess is because we spent a whole episode with him the last week. That's probably the reason why we don't get a chance to see him this week. Yeah, and I thought maybe soon this arc might wrap up, but no. From the episodes I've seen, it looks like it's going to go on for up until episode 86. Yep, this looks like this arc may wrap up probably in the next 5 episodes. Yep, next 5 episodes. So basically, Boruto basically referenced something that happened 10 episodes back. Yes, the episode that was a prelude to this very arc. So you can kind of see right now this arc was going on for 11 episodes. So are they doing the thing now where when we have an actual arc that's not stupid like it was Chocho, where it's more serious and a lot more, let's say, higher stakes? Okay, apparently now higher stake arcs are now 15, 20 episode arcs now. This is the second arc in a row they've actually done this. I'm not counting the Chocho arc because that was stupid. Yeah. So yeah, that's really it for this particular review. I was not thinking I was going to do Rosamund plus Vampire today, but I figured, though, why not? So expect to see a review of the first season of that in a few hours. Okay? But until I see your next review, bye.